I would like to call the Solid Waste Subcommittee to order. We don't quite have a quorum yet, but there was great information from the Public Health and Safety Committee before us, so our time has become very limited, so I'd love to make the most of the time that we do have remaining. I will start with one thing that is not on our agenda, which is just to point out that there is one resolution, RS 2026-1821, that is for a cooperative purchasing master agreement for waste and recycling collection that I would just encourage members of this committee to sign on to, since we care about this. And with that, I would like to get to our agenda and recognize Matt at the podium back there. If you'll introduce yourself as soon as I find the table. Where is that public table? I think that's it.
Check. There we go.
There you go. You are recognized.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Welcome. We're gathering.
Thank you. What would you like me to start with anything in particular, or you just want me to start from the top?
What we officially have on our agenda is to start with the route changes, the recycling contract, and then to talk about dumping and compost.
Very well.
In that order. Thank you very much.
I can handle that. So for our new schedule change, our 4-day shift, I'll start with kind of engagement by the numbers. Every customer, so all 144,000 of our customers, had at minimum 5 different touch points of notification in the lead up to the launch that lasted several months. That included 12 separate broadcast and print media stories, 20 separate social posts for nearly 200,000 views, nearly 500,000 scheduled views on the app, as well as that includes 84,000 first-time visitors. For a significant stretch, our collection schedule webpage was the #2 most visited Nashville.gov page, behind the main page, for nearly 150,000 views. Every customer household was sent direct mailers, so 144,000, and 97,000 people whose days changed received stickers on their carts. And additionally, as you are well aware, I communicated directly to the subcommittee or the entire council at least 5 separate times to varying degrees of additional sharing from you guys to your channels, which we really appreciate. We additionally sent 2 separate blasts to the mayor office's list of the county's neighborhood group leaders, which I think really helped us out. And we also supplied we supplied an informational card for every single one of WeGo's 220 bus fleets. So there was a card in every bus. Now, as far as KPIs go, the last update I gave to you all regarding our KPIs and performance numbers was on January 20th for the last meeting of this subcommittee. Obviously, it was just before Winter Storm Fern and a little over a week before our scheduled launch. And so at that point, just to remind you, our service rate for all 3 haulers combined for trash was 99.89%. And our service rate for recycling was 99.78%, with our total average turnaround for missed pickups was hovering around 2 days, but with Metro Alone's turnaround was averaging at exactly 24 hours. Now, we had a daily average at that point of about 32 trash misses across all haulers and 26 recycling misses. Now, at this point, we're the beginning of the 5th week following our launch, and our service rate at this point for the month is 99.67%. And our service rate for recycling is 99.65%. Our average turnaround time for missed pickups is now firmly under 2 days, so we've improved there. And with Metro Alone's turnaround time, we're still making some adjustments, so we're just barely over a day. Now, in February, we did have a daily average of 183 trash misses across all haulers and 49 recycling misses. However, we are very clearly past our peak of issues at this point and trending downward. For example, for the week of February 7th, we had 214 daily trash misses, while last week it was down to 114 per day. And similarly, our recycling miss peak was actually on the 3rd week, so the week of February 21st, with 60 misses per day, and now we are down to 48. So we're trending down on both directions, quickly arriving back towards where we started. Now, altogether, that means out of the roughly 50,000 customers we service per day, we are rapidly adjusting the new schedule with only 174 misses per day between all haulers for both trash and recycling. Now, we always assumed we'd have a temporary negative bump to service as we and our haulers and our customers all adjust to the new schedule. And we were originally, we didn't know what to assume. Maybe a full percentage, maybe as much as 3% decrease in service rate. So the fact that we are only a mere 0.22% worse at this point is pretty astounding. Now, ultimately, we consider this a massive success that in just 17 months since the arrival of the director, we have moved to entirely new tech, changed 2/3 of our customer service days, and insourced nearly 50,000 customers, giving Metro a share of 63% of our curbside service and saving Metro $5.5 million. Sorry, $5.58 million.
Great.
Not to mention, full credit to all the departments that helped in the winter storm Fern cleanup. We also launched this new schedule as we all had to contend with the storm, where we worked the entire weekend on storm cleanup, leading right into our new schedule launch, while our crews worked 9 days straight to roll out the new schedule, while keeping all convenience centers open and free, and providing 28 emergency drop-off sites to aid in the
Bravo.
cleanup.
I think that deserves a round of applause.
Certainly, our guys deserve it, yeah.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Great work.
So that is what we have for the 4-day and where we stand now. We hope to very soon, meet back up with our old service rate standards and exceed it as we continue to improve countywide.
Council members will let you know, I feel sure. So.
I know immediately when there are issues, so I
Yeah.
appreciate everyone using me as a resource, certainly.
Thank you. Any questions on route changes before we move on to the recycling contract? Seeing none, recycling?
Yes, so we are currently paying for our recycling processing under an emergency PO after negotiations had fallen through in the winter with Waste Management. We are planning for the new RFP. It is now with procurement with a tentative launch date of March 17th, so very soon. And with that, we are hoping to get contracts in place this summer if all goes well there. So that is where we are with the recycling contract.
Great. And then there was specific interest from some council members about illegal dumping. So if you could just run through sort of what lands under what department and where we can find help, that would be very helpful.
Certainly. So for all curbside service and all disposal in the county, that is us. Or in all curbside service in the USD and all disposal in the entire county is us. It will always be us. Now, for illegal dumping, if it is on public property, that is NDOT's purview, and they cover signage as well. So for signs that, asking for signs that say no illegal dumping or whatever you would like them to say, that lands with NDOT. If it is on private property, that would be under codes domain. For litter, similarly, litter is handled by either NDOT, TDOT, or codes, depending on the location of the litter. And bulk item pickup is actually handled by the sheriff's department. I know that they have a number on their website to call to request bulk item collection at the curbside.
Gotcha. So everybody got that? It's either NWS, NDOT, DDOT codes, or the sheriff's office. So, Councilmember Suara. Use your mic. Can you use your mic? That's it.
Sorry about that. I got an email from a constituent talking about the trees and the stuff haven't been picked up in the area. Who does that and who do we send them to?
That is a great question. That is actually being taken care of by NDOT. And we are told, and maybe Matt, you can weigh in on this just a little bit. We are being told that they are making repeated sweeps everywhere. I know that they are getting to the bigger streets more frequently than they're getting to the smaller streets. But if you have any intel on that, we would.
So I know my counterpart in NDOT is not here. I do happen to have some knowledge of the department. So yes, all brush collection is with NDOT. Normally they do it, I think 4 times a year.
They are off that schedule.
They are off
right
that.
now.
They are off that schedule currently. They are. My understanding is they are hitting the entire county as much as possible. I know Philip and his team have a verifiable army of contractors and subcontractors that are helping them to collect as much as possible.
And is it worth it to report on Hub that you have a big pile on your street, or should we just trust that they're coming around?
That I can't speak to. It is my understanding that they're not requesting requests for that. They're just put it on the curb in the right of way, and they'll get to it. Okay,
thank you. Good question. Thank you. Anything else on, what did we just do? Illegal dumping questions. And then final question, I see we have Jen Harmon here, so you can weigh in as well. Where are we on the compost pilot, and as we look at budget season, do we have the opportunity to continue and grow that?
Yes, so currently, and since we received it, I believe 2, maybe 3 years ago, 2023, we've been doing this pilot, but currently we have 750 households in participation. That roughly costs about $270,000 a year for us to operate. We were originally funded by the original mechanism. However, we have asked for that as a budget modification in preceding years. We have not received that. We've also been applying for a number of grants and have not been successful in those. All that means is basically we are continuing we are currently continuing the pilot with the existing number of participants. The way we are able to do that at all, just funding wise, is through the cost savings that we've been able to make since becoming a department. So we currently have a budget mod that from last year that we did not get, and we also are submitting the same budget mod this year for $275,000 to cover what we already have in the pilot. However, I will say we are currently undergoing a feasibility study to look at kind of a longer range plan of how to handle organics at the curbside. And so we are waiting to receive the results of that before we make a plan or recommendation as to how far and wide we want to make it and how quickly and those things like that.
Okay, thank you for that. If I remember correctly, you said earlier in the report that we've saved $5.8 million through greater efficiencies in the new program. So is it possible we could ask for $540,000 out of that? That's only 10% of the savings.
So we are currently funding what we have right now with the cost savings that we have. Now, those cost savings are spread out between 17 months. The most recent was we insourced 11,000 routes with the schedule change. That equals about $1.08 million. And the other 3 or so million was from the initial 33,000 stops that we insourced before we were even a department fully. We are utilizing those funds for a number of different things to help us grow as a department and keep up without having to ask for every little thing from the department. But
Gotcha.
Certainly between being able to use the funds for other things and using the funds to continue what we have and waiting on the feasibility study to see how we should expand it. That's why at the time we're not using the funds that we have to expand where we're at currently.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I would welcome input from other members of this committee, but I fully support, growing that any way that we can as we see possibilities. And I know that Jen is a great advocate for that process. So I hope we continue to do that. Any comments, Councilmember Webb?
So how much money do we save on the recycling, the people that recycle?
Save on the I guess what do you mean by that?
I mean, the people that recycle their products, do we save anything on that? I mean, are we just doing it for
Keeping it out of the landfill to extend the life.
Yeah, diversion is our number one goal in almost everything that we do, diversion from the landfills. There is money to be made in marketing recycling to offset the cost of collecting, but generally the cost of collecting and and actually giving them to a processor and having them processed, it costs a lot of money to do that as well.
How do we educate like the people to get on the recycling, and what all do we give them if they choose to recycle? What do we give them?
So that, I mean, certainly Jen can answer a lot more of that. She's in charge of our education and our recycling outreach. So that's a whole wing of our department to try to get those numbers up. Currently, we have 144,000 trash customers. We have 112,000 recycling customers. So there's certainly a gap there of people that have trash carts currently that don't have recycling carts. So there's always room to grow. And then in addition to that, we look at set out rates of how frequently people set their carts out. Normally, our trash set out rates are 90 to 80%. Our recycling rates are usually much worse, to about 50%. We actually are in a surge right now. We're up to about 70% recycling set out rates. But all that means there's a lot of room for more people to recycle and for more people to join the recycling program.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Harmon, would you want to add anything to that?
Jen Harmon, Waste Services. Just to add a couple things in terms of the education piece. So that's what my team is charged with. So whenever you do get a cart, there is information on that cart that educates residents about what you can and cannot recycle. Additionally, we're looking at a strategic education plan for this year to tap into Metro Nashville Public Schools. We're working with them to look at how we can educate students, which then also educates parents, as well as a variety of other education and outreach activities to get out to the public in a variety of places. And particularly, as Matt said, looking at the data that we have available. And we're getting a lot more of that to understand where are those set out rates low, where we want to encourage more recycling, going out potentially using volunteers, doing some canvassing, a lot of different ideas out there to really get the word out about recycling and increase that participation rate.
Thank you. Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
If I could add just one additional
Certainly.
thing there as well. What we can recycle, a lot of it depends on the facility that we recycle with. That, as I had mentioned earlier, we're in the process of sending out an RFP for recycling processing. We've used WM's facility in town for a very long time. They're one of kind of the only main players in town. But basically what their facility accepts and can process and therefore can market to people that would buy that, it depends on, their facility depends on what we can actually take curbside. There's a lot of additional plastics and different types of recyclables that we currently don't take at our curbside. So we're looking to expand that, if possible, into a bunch of different avenues. So
It's all about the market and who wants it. Great. Any other questions or comments? We will try to meet about this time on the second meeting of the month in general. We ended up being here because there have been so many Monday holidays that squished our schedule. So I believe our next meeting will be the second meeting in April. And so if people can carve out that time on your schedule, we would look forward to that and hopefully have some updates on the recycling contract. All right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
thanks so much.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.